Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you are well. I'm just running a little bit late, but hopefully you guys are well, had a good weekend and ready for another live on a Sunday. Remember, if you guys got any questions, please type it in the chat with a Q semicolon so I can help you guys out. So the way we do this, let me just get myself set up. We do a 20 question mock test. And then I would do a live demonstration of a hazard perception, because the amount of emails I've received this week from you guys about hazard perception, you guys are still struggling with that. So I will do a live demonstration towards the end after the 20 question mock test. But remember, if you guys got any questions, not necessarily just about the theory training, driving test as well, let me know. Or driving lessons, I can help you out with that. So let me just set myself up here so I can see what's going on. Making sure the live is going out. Put that there. And right, just see if anyone's here. Get this window, close this down and open this up. Where are you? Right, so let me just set this microphone up. Right, so we are live, because some of you are still saying, are we live? It's really hot in there. Sports entertainment, welcome to you. Let me come out of this one, go into this one. On the 15th, I'm assuming you mean 15th of this month, which is on Wednesday, I believe. Yeah, you're in the right place. So if you've got any questions, type it out in the chat, please. Q, let me just show you how it should look. It should be a Q semicolon and then type your questions. Otherwise, it just looks like a comment and I may just go past it without realizing it. I've got to shorten this one. I don't know why that's so big. Let me just redo this and center that. Right. Thanks for your videos. It helped me. I passed my test Wednesday. Well done to you. 44 and 57 has a perception. Well done to you. Congratulations. Thank you for coming to the live. So let me just put this on silent. Otherwise I'm going to be beeping all over the place. Sorry. Thank you for coming back. I'm just going to put my phone on silent and let me know how you got on. But also in the chat, let me know what your next steps are. Whether you're going to do driving lessons or looking to book a driving test, because you may already have driving experience. Sports entertainment, send that congrats. Send that some love. I love that when you guys support each other. Carol, welcome and good morning. Numa, hopefully I'm saying it right. Thank you so much for all your videos. They've been very helpful. 23rd, which I believe is next week. So you've got a little bit of time left. I'm here next Sunday. So again, while you're studying, over the coming week, if you've got any questions, jot them down. Bring it to the live next Sunday so I can answer it for you. All right, so what I'm going to do then is do an overview, as I always do. So if you're new here, I tend to do an overview of the theory test, what they're looking for, how it works. I never assume that you guys know how it works, because the amount of people that turn up to my course who have no idea how the theory test works, they just know that they've got to pass it to take a driving test. So, so I'm just reading the comments. So yeah, I never assume. You do need to understand how the theory test works before you go in there. You'd be surprised how many people actually study and have no idea what the pass mark is or how it works when they go in there. So it's a big surprise. Right. Sports entertainment. You took one last week. And you've got another one on the 15th, which is this week. So that's 8 questions wrong. Hopefully you still got the paperwork. What you want to do is look at the paperwork they gave you. If you haven't done it already, look at the categories, because if you got 8 questions wrong, normally that works out about 5 categories, which is a third of the categories wrong. You also stated you haven't come across some questions you've never seen before. All right, I'm going to answer that because that's common. Right, so you have, when you go for the test, you have a multiple choice, 50 questions. You have to score 43 out of the 50 questions. This is where people go wrong. And this is for you, sports, entertainment, and everybody like yourself. You guys, when you study on the apps, still think it's all the questions that's in the apps. So when you go for the real test, you think the same questions are going to come up. It's not. The apps are sampled questions, regardless of what app you use, as long as it's licensed. It's a sampled questions. Most apps have 770 plus questions, around about that region. On the real test, the DVSA, who set the questions, have a database of 1,000 plus questions. On the app, it's only 770 plus questions. I will repeat, on the app, it's sampled questions, something similar to the real test. The DVSA do not give out the real questions and answers, because when they did that years ago, all people did was memorize the question, memorize the answers. So when it came to the driving was poor, because they didn't know what the rules meant, because they didn't learn the rules, they just learned the answers. And that's the reason why. So when you go for the real test, some of the questions will be worded same as the app. Some of the questions would be worded similar to the app. And some questions you will never have seen before. But the outcome is still always going to be down to safety. So hopefully that makes sense, because your 50 questions is made up of 14 different categories. Time that you have to do this is 57 minutes to do your 43. On the hazard perception, it's normally about 20 minutes, because the videos last between 45 seconds to a minute. So the hazard perception is about 20 minutes in total, but 57 minutes to do the questions. As I just said, with the hazard perception, it's 45 seconds to a minute, about 20 minutes long in total. And then with the hazard perception, you're looking for problems, obviously the hazards, and you're looking to score 44 out of 75 to pass that. There's 14 videos, 13 of them have single hazards where you can score a maximum of 5. One of them's got a double, 2 5s. You need to average at least 3 across the board. If your average is less than 3 when you finish the 14th video, you're going to fail. So the average has to be more than 3. Ideally, you want 4s and 5s, a nice 7, 8, maybe a 9 on your double to make sure your average stays high. The answers they're looking for is safety. So regardless of what they show you in terms of the questions, as I said, some of the questions you've never seen before, you still have to work out what the answer is going to be in terms of safety. If you studied properly, like I always say, understand the questions, understand the answers, regardless of what question they show you, you should be able to work out what the safest option is, and that's the one you go for. If it doesn't lead to safety, it's going to be control, and that's normally your first aid or motorway questions, which leads out to a controlled outcome. That's the same as the driving test. The examiner looks for controlled outcome and a safe drive. So hopefully that all makes sense. I'm not understanding what you mean by lights on the motorway. There's no lights on the motorway. So I just got mince in my mouth. I just realised I'm eating mince on the live. Just explain what you mean by struggling with lights on the motorway, because there's no lights on the motorway. Unless you mean the studs. If you have driving experience in Nigeria, then what I suggest you do is get an instructor, book them for a 2-hour assessment lesson. And then at the end of the 2 hours, the instructor can tell you your strengths and your weaknesses. Obviously, your weaknesses would be what you need to work on to pass a driving test. So that's what I would suggest you do. And then obviously go from there. If there's minimal weaknesses, you can keep practicing with family members and friends. If there's a lot of weaknesses, then obviously you're going to need this driving instructor to get that out of your system. So that's what I would do. Get a 2-hour assessment, and then at the end of the 2 hours, the instructor can tell you exactly where you're at moving forwards. Elisa, first of all, welcome to the live. 49 out of 50 high school, just missed the magical 50 by 1. And has a perception 61 out of 75, which is a high score. So well done to you and congratulations. First of all, if you're still here, let me know what your next steps are, whether it's driving lessons or a driving test, just in case you've got driving experience as well. So I'm just reading Shula's comment. I'm new to your channel, been watching since January, which is 12 days into January, but thank you for watching. Right, I like the way, I know it's a fail, you don't want to, obviously didn't want to fail, but I like the way you put, I failed 8 questions. Most people said I failed by 1. So I'm assuming you got 42. That's the right way of looking at it. You got 8 questions wrong. You want to aim high. You want to aim high. So when you go for the next one, if you do fall short, you fall over the line, not behind it. But you said I did not check the areas I missed. I went back twice after and I did miss. So I'm assuming you went back again and failed it. If you fail the test, they give you a breakdown of the categories you got the questions wrong in. You definitely want to restudy those categories because they're weak. Because of those categories, when you go for another test, it's a different test. So it's a different 50 questions. So imagine if you've got 8 questions wrong, it normally works out to 5 or more categories. That's what it normally works out to on average. So you got 5, there's only 14 categories. So if you think about it, if you got 5 categories wrong, at least 5 categories wrong, that's almost a third of the categories. Now, if you go for another test and you get a similar amount of categories, a similar amount of questions, guess what the result's going to be? It's going to be a fail. So that's the reason why you want to restudy those categories first and foremost. Build your knowledge back up. Start doing more mock tests to make sure those categories aren't showing up on your mock test. Because if it still is, it means there's a weakness. And then hopefully you build up all the all-round knowledge. So when you go again, you have a better chance of passing. But always check the questions you got wrong. Even when you fail, even when you pass, still, unless you got 50 out of 50. Even with my students in the classroom, they come in, they say they pass, or they text me to say they pass. How much did you get? I got 47, for example. What 3 questions did you, what 3 categories did you get the question wrong in? Because those categories you may need for your driving test, especially if it's like road signs or road markings, because you need that for your driving test. So pass or fail, always check it. The boot camp starts on the 3rd of February. You can go on the website. There's an issue with the booking page for some reason. Sometimes it lets people in and sometimes it doesn't. I'm going to sort that out today. But it's live on my website, www.drivingtheoryuk.com, on the course page. And it runs every Monday from the 3rd of February. And it's 5 days. So you have to be committed to the 5 days. 4:30 to 6:30, Zoom training, 5 days. And by the end of the 5th day, you should be ready to take your test because my students are going to be in there with you from my branch, South London, West London's branch, and Slough. So by the time we get to February, there'll be quite a few of you in there, working as a class environment. Like I said, I'll do a training for 2 hours. We'll do a slight mock test based on the module that you did that day. At the end of the 5th day, you should be ready to take your theory test and pass it, because my students will have their theory test booked for the Friday or the Saturday at the end of the boot camp. That's how it works. But you have to be committed to 5 days. There's no point turning up. You do get a replay, by the way, so you guys will get a replay. There is extra training material where you can go in and get PDFs, extra videos to reinforce the learning. You got access to a 14-day training material and all the replays, but it's not just enough to watch the replays. You do have to turn up for the training. If you're not going to turn up for the training, it doesn't make sense doing it. That's my opinion anyway. So that's how it works. But like I said, it's live at the moment, but there is an issue with the booking page for some reason, which I will explore today after the live session to fix. Oh, you guys are chatting. Well, you're here. Ask any questions while you can. Azia, welcome to you. How are you been? Still preparing on the 26th. Hopefully the training is going well for you. Oh, motorway studs. First and foremost, I've got a video on the channel. It's about 2 minutes long. Motorway studs. It explains it. It breaks down in a simple way. Very, very basic, very simple. Once you watch that video. I love this. You guys are having a little conversation, sharing motivation to each other. Brilliant. Damon, welcome. Right, so you passed the multiple choice. Hopefully you've not neglected the multiple choice. As I mentioned earlier on, when you go for the next test, it's going to be a different set of questions. So hopefully you haven't neglected that. Just because you passed it, it doesn't mean say you're passing the second one. The 35 out of 75, you got 3 zeros because you over-clicked. Right, that will still suggest, just because you got zeros, that means you didn't know what you was clicking on, hence why you clicked too many times. And also you can still pass with 3 zeros. So again, that still suggests you don't know what you're clicking on, because even with 3 zeros, you can still pass. It means you've got lots of 2s, lots of 3s. If you've got your paperwork to hand, look at the category, because it breaks it down for you. How many zeros, how many 1s, blah, blah, blah. You would have got quite a few 3s, 2s, not a lot of 4s and 5s if you've got 35, even with 3 zeros. So yeah, you do definitely need to practice your hazard perception. But your test is tomorrow. Got my test tomorrow. I'm going to do a live demonstration, so hopefully stick around for that at the end. I missed a magical 50 by 2. That's brilliant. But you still passed. Take it. 48 is brilliant. And 61 on your hazard perception. So well done to you. Right, let me know what your next steps are. Driving lessons or driving tests. Good morning. First time here, so welcome to you. Hopefully you learn something and come back. Let us know where you are with your studying. Have you taken one before, or it's going to be your first time? No problem. Michelle, welcome. Failed by 1. Got 8 questions wrong. You needed 1 to pass, but 8 questions wrong. As I mentioned earlier on, do the categories, restudy the categories that's on your sheet that they said that you got the questions wrong in. And 47 out of 75. You've passed the hazard perception, but that still needs improvement because it's 44. Again, that suggests you're getting 2s and 3s rather than 4s and 5s. So I would definitely, again, because when you go back, it's a different test. So it may be different video clips. So I'll definitely brush up on both parts on that. Right, let me do the question because you guys ain't here to hear me waffle on. And I will keep up with the chat as you guys go on. Garnet, how are you? Hopefully you're still studying and getting ready for Your big day coming around the corner soon. Test is on the 25th. That's about 2 weeks time, give or take. A noble passed on Wednesday, 45 out of 50, 57 out of 75. Well done to you. Again, let me know what your next steps are. All right, let's start this mock test. So, and I'll keep up with the chat as you guys go along. So I need to share my screen, which is this one. Right, let's just bring this up a bit. And let me see if I can get my, while we're doing this, I'll try and get my cursor to show up on this screen. Right, for those of you that are new, what we do is read the question. This is what I suggest you do on the real test as well. And while you're studying on your mock test, read the question carefully, not just read it carefully, because sometimes there's clues in there. If it's got an image, look at the image and then go to your 4 options. So this is A, this is B, this is C, and this is D. So what does this sign mean? Look at the image. If you think it's 1, the question number we're on is 1, and you think this is A is the answer, put 1A. Please put the question number and then the letter after it. That way I know we're on the same page, because there's a delay between me and you and YouTube. And let me see if I can get my mouse cursor to work. Where are you? There you go. So we can see that. Let me just see if it draws a line. Brilliant. All up and running. Got a test on the 28th of February. Wow. Got quite a few weeks, about 6 weeks to study. There's another about 3 or 4 more lives in that 6 weeks. So bring your questions along every Sunday and I'll do my best to help you out, and let's get that pass. You've been driving, you've got driving experience 9 months. So you're driving on an international license, which means you only got 3 months left of your international license. So you do need to get your full license before the international license runs out. Yeah, as I said before, get a driving instructor, get a 2-hour assessment, and let them assess your driving. At least if you've been driving in the UK for 9 months, you've got practice driving in the UK. But now what you need to do is drive the way the examiner wants you to drive, if that makes sense, safety-wise. So get a driving instructor to assess your driving and then take it from there. Yes, driving school TV, Conquer driving school, I think it's called. Clearview driving school and DGN driving school. Those guys do it really well and they make it fun as well. So that's the ones I recommend to my pupils in terms of watching. So that's DGN, Clearview driving school TV, and I think it's Conquer driving school. There's others out there, but those are the ones that I recommend to my students because I think those guys are really great. So Jasmine, 40 out of 50, 50 out of 75, got disqualified on 1, still past 0 because you got lots of 4s and 5s. This is what I'm saying. For those of you that failed the hazard perception or got low scores in hazard perception, you're either clicking well late, or obviously if you got disqualified, you're clicking too many times. That suggests you don't know what you're clicking on if you're clicking too many times. But if you know what you're clicking on, it doesn't add up to too many times. But with a 58 score, that's a lot of 4s and 5s, even with a 0 thrown in. Well done to you, motorcycle test. Well done. Congrats. All right, let's take a look at the answers. What is still on number 1? Edward, welcome. As I said, I'm going to put these up, but moving forward on the second one, I won't, because we're on the first question. I know, obviously, we're on the first question. Please put the question number, just like Owen has, with the letter after. 21st coming up. Right, most of you are going for D. I'll see if we're going for D. All right, let's take a look. Triangles are warnings, just in case you didn't know. So it's warning you of it's got a gate. So it's level crossing with gate or barrier. If it's just a train inside, it's a level crossing without a gate or barrier. You're behind this cyclist. When the traffic lights change, what should you do? Again, take a look at the image. When the traffic light changes, what should you do? You got third there. I don't know if that's supposed to be 20 seconds or maybe you meant 23rd. But again, that's the week after next, I believe, 13th, Monday, 20th, next week. So again, I'm here next Sunday. While you're studying during the week, type any questions. So write down any questions, bring it along to the live and let me answer so we can send you in there a lot more confidently. I've tried manual car, but right, before you do that, the question I would ask is why you're not progressing. That's before you switch. I'll tell you why, because if it's nothing to do with the gears, automatic ain't going to change anything, because a lot of people think going to automatic is easier. Technically, yes, because you're not using your left foot. You're only using one foot. If you struggle with gears in a manual, then fine, I understand why you're switching. But if you're struggling with traffic, keeping the car straight, blah, 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 all the rest of it, then you going to automatic doesn't change that, because you're still going to be struggling. It's the same things you see at the windscreen. So you've got to ask yourself why you are not progressing. Is it you? Is it you struggling with the gears? Maybe it could be your instructor not making your progress, not motivating you properly, whatever it happens to be. But I would explore the reason why. Because once you go to automatic and you pass automatic, you are stuck with automatic. In the manual, even though I'm biased because I teach manual, I would encourage you to do manual, because when you pass, you've got the choice of both. That's the reason why I would say that. But like I said, before you switch, ask yourself why you're not progressing. Yeah, Clearview Driving School. She's pretty good. It's the same all over the country. There's a shortage of driving instructors. And again, what happens is there's an influx in the new year, because it's like a New Year's resolution. I said this last week. Not like how people go to the gym, lose weight, want to change their jobs, new year, new start. So there's a lot of people that want to get the license for 2025. So what they do now is dive in to pass their theory test or take driving lessons, depending on what stage they're in. So you just got to keep searching. And if you find a good instructor, hang on to them until the end, until you pass. But yeah, it's the same over the country where it's difficult to get an instructor. DGN Driving School, yep. Conqueror Driving School. So what number are we on? Number 2. Right, so let's look for 2s. Right, 2. Again, some of you are still not putting the question number. So I don't know if it's from the first one or the second one. Marissa, how are you? Diana, how are you? Welcome. All right, most of you have gone for B. Someone's gone for a C there. Right. Someone went for a C. Try to move off before. No, that can't be safe. The whole reason why the cyclist is there so you can see him as a driver. So it's going to be allow the cyclist time and room. I'll be honest with you, with cyclists, horse riders, lorries, it's going to be the same answer for all of them. Allow them room, time, space. You're never in a rush on a driving test. That's always going to be the answer with cyclists, horses, and lorries. You're never going to try to move off first. Remember, you're trying to do safe, not quickly. Where would you expect to see these markers? Again, look at the image. And then where would you expect to see the markers? Please put the question number and then your letter of choice. That's a good point. I've never used the AI in the apps, but that's a very good point. Thanks for pointing that out. Appreciate that. Maybe I should do a video on the AI and see how that works. What app are you doing that in? See if I can find it again. That's the wrong one. Yeah, what app are you doing that in? Is it what? Yeah, just tell me what app you're doing that in. I didn't realize AI was in the apps. I'm happy to learn from you guys as well. I'll always suggest going over the theory test. Always, because like I said, you only got 50 questions on the day of your theory test. So I'd always go over the stuff like road signs, road markings, roundabouts. I would always keep going over until I pass my driving test, to be honest, to make sure it's fresh. Because remember, on the day of the driving test, you're on your own. The examiner doesn't help you with road signs or images. So you need to know that information, and you need to know it quickly. Sorry, to be able to recall it quickly. So if you are driving in a situation, you know what the road sign means, you know what the road marking means, so you can deal with it straight away. But yes, I would always recommend, and when you're taking driving lessons, it's going to reinforce it, because obviously you're seeing it for real, which means you can apply the rules from what you've learned. Number 3. Right, most of you have gone for B. Most of you have gone for B. On the heavy goods vehicle, yes, to warn you that the vehicle's long, large. So before you overtake, make sure you've got enough space to get past it comfortably. You need to top up your battery with distilled water. What level should you fill it to? Yeah, a driving instructor makes a lot of difference. That's what I was asking about. Before you change to, not you, but before the other person, I can't remember the name, change to automatic, ask yourself why you're not progressing. Sometimes it can be the instructor not helping you along. So a decent instructor can help you make a lot of progress in a short space of time. I will add to you guys as well, you are paying for a service. If you're not happy with your instructor, I know there's a lack of instructors, but it's no point keeping a hang of a bad instructor. You might as well save your money until you can find a good one. Because like I said, a good instructor is worth his salt, and it's going to save you money in the long run as well. You got $4.99 app. They're all $4.99. The apps. on average the price. If the license, they're roughly about $4.99. So if you can give me the name of the app, I'll appreciate that. If you can't, no problem. I'll do some research. I'll probably do a video on that at some point. See if the AI is worth getting involved with. Have you got a centre in Croydon? No, I have not got a centre in Croydon. But if you're talking about for the ferry side of it, as I said last week and this week, I'm taking the theory test. Last week, Monday, was the last week in classroom sessions for most of our branches. We are now taking our training online. So if you want theory training, I am launching the boot camp on February the 3rd. My students from the classroom are going online tomorrow, Monday. Yeah, we start on Monday. But I need to run it, test it first before I launch it to you guys. I don't see this should be a problem with what we're doing, but I like to test before I give you guys advice on anything. But if you want theory training, going to our centre would no longer be an option anyway, because we did that with driving. So you do a theory training every day plus driving every day. But now I'm offering the boot camp online every day, but obviously no driving because you are in Croydon. So if you're interested in that, jump onto the website and book your slot. So like I said, from February the 3rd, every Monday for 5 days, you can book any Monday that you're available. But please be committed to the 2-hour training session every day. If you're not committed, it doesn't make sense joining. I only want to work with people that's committed anyway. That's the way I tend to work. If you're not serious, me begging you to study doesn't make sense. Sorry, what number? We're number 4. Here's the first one. No problem. Mostly if you're going for C. Right, mostly you've gone for C. Yeah, just above the cell plate is correct. What should the driver of the car approaching the crossing do? Again, look at the image. Got someone standing there, car approaching. What should they do? And again, normally with should, may. So it's either must, should, may. It's something you definitely should be doing, or sometimes it's law. So even the words change the context of the question and answer. Karen, welcome first and foremost, and I'm glad it helped you. And thank you for turning up to the live and letting me know that you passed. What's your next? Oh, you got a driving instructor. So I just saw your second comment. Change him. First and foremost, no instructor should be shouting at you or getting angry because you don't make mistakes deliberately. Mistakes is part of learning. With my pupils, I encourage them to make mistakes because it makes them better and stronger. Once you make a mistake, we discuss. And I mean discuss. I don't shout. I don't scream. Don't make sense. That's only going to make you worse. And it makes you understand why the mistake was made. So you learn from that so you don't make the same mistake again. If he's screaming and shouting, and you did say scream, didn't you? Yeah, angry and screams. Change. You shouldn't be paying for someone to scream. It makes no sense. Especially if you're doing a 2-hour lesson, 2 hours, someone screaming at you, get rid. Oh, driving test success. Okay. Oh, that's the one I use. I'll take a look at that and see how useful it is. But thank you for that heads up on that AI. Appreciate it. Number 5. Taking yours on the 17th, which is next week. Well, I wish you luck with that. Again, if you've got any questions, please ask away in the chat. Frederick, well done to you. And thank you for coming to let me know. I'm glad the videos are helping you out. Be ready to stop. All right, Barnes, if you've gone for D. With zebra crossings, it's always going to be slow down, be prepared to stop, or slow down, be ready to stop, whatever the answer they gave you. It's a zebra crossing. Remember, it's always about the safety factor. No problem. Oh, you did change and feel more confident. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you need to be comfortable with your driving instructor. If you're always on the edge, it can't be a pleasant experience. And also, as well, you need to be as relaxed. Sorry, let me just do this first. What did you guys go for? D. Slow down and get ready to, yeah, zebra crossing. You want to be as comfortable as you possibly can with your driving instructor, because remember, when you go for your driving test, you're going to be driving with a stranger. So if you're already comfortable with your instructor, you're going to be a little bit more relaxed. You're always going to be nervous on test day anyway with the driving examiner, but at least you're going to be comfortable during your lesson as you drove down there to the test center. And then when you go to the examiner, a little bit nerves kick in, but you're going to be comfortable with it because your instructor would have encouraged you to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. So if you make it on the test, you know how to deal with it in a natural way rather than, oh my God, I'm freaking out kind of thing. Sorry, you're about to drive home. What, again, should you do if you feel very tired and have a severe headache? I'm doing a theory protection pass. Just explain what that means. I'm not 100% sure what you mean by protection pass. Yeah, sometimes ask family and friends if they're taking driving lessons, they're happy with their instructor. See if you can get in the back door that way, because instructors like to take on recommendations. If I had to take on a new people that I don't know, as opposed to a recommendation, I would prefer to take on a recommendation, because obviously a friend of a friend is a better insight rather than a total stranger. Oh, for a motorcycle, okay. I will add, just in case you didn't know, the 4-in-1 app, you can change the questions to motorcycle questions. Or for those of you that want to do HGV, you can change the questions to motorcycles or HGV questions. Website, www.drivingferryuk.com. Go on the course page. I did mention earlier on, there's an issue with the bookings page, which I will sort out this afternoon. Once the live is finished, I'll go in there and probably take it down. So if it's not available later on this afternoon, it's because I've taken it down to fix whatever the problem is. But you can book your slot from February the 3rd every Monday for 5 days continuous. I will be doing a demonstration at the end of the 20 questions. So I'll show you where you should be clicking, how you should be clicking. What number we're in? 6. So these ones are up to date. Again, the majority of you are going for B. I'm assuming that's the B answer. Oh, right, okay. I see what you mean. Yes, on the 4-in-1 app. Yeah, I get what you're saying with that now. Simply me, hello. Good to see you here. All right, most of you gone for B. Got a headache. What's B? Wait until you're fit. And well, yeah, wait. Should never drive when you're tired or got an illness because your reaction time goes down. For how long is an MLT certificate normally valid? For how long is an MLT certificate normally valid for? Divika, hopefully I'm saying that correct, not butchering your name. First of all, welcome to the channel. Hopefully you find it useful and beneficial to you, that you keep coming back until your theory test on the 8th of Feb. So you've got a little while, just under 3.5 weeks or so. So you've got quite a few Sundays. Again, for all of you that are studying, while you're studying during the week, write down any questions, concerns that you may have and bring it to the live on Sunday so I can tidy it up. So while you're studying in the week, don't be afraid to jot down questions and say, right, bring that to the live so Dorian can answer that for me and clear it up. That's what the lives are for, is to help you guys out as much as possible. Risky biz, well done. That's the right way to go for me personally. Do all the categories. What you want, if you've done all the categories and then you're doing mock tests, right? Okay, so you're doing mock tests anyway. I was going to say, once you've done all the categories, start doing mock tests. What you want to do now is hopefully that you're passing the mock test. Depending on what app you're using, I can only speak for the 4-in-1 because I don't use the others. If you're using the 4-in-1, it gives you your strongest category and it gives you your weakest category. And that's what you want to do, is clock your strongest to make sure it stays strong. And then your weakest one, obviously review the wrong answers and then do another mock test. If that comes up again as a weak category, you may want to restudy the categories. But you're on the right path with the way you're studying at the moment. So well done to you. Yeah, they are very similar. I don't know about the Theory Academy website. If it works for you, that's fine. There's lots of us out there doing theory training. And I'll be honest with you, most of the guys that I know, and Winterburn, there's another guy, Chris, I can't remember his surname, is doing it as well. And most of us are licensed by the DVSA to do the training as well. So you're on the right path if you have got a trainer or academy of some sort. Sorry. Trisha, well done to you in passing 46 out of 50. 66 is a high score. Well done. No problem. Thank you for coming back and letting me know how you got on. What will be on 7? Do fand. Welcome. Right, let me try to find these 7s. Got 1 year. 7A. Some of you are still not putting the question number. Someone's gone for a C. No problem. I appreciate you coming back and let me know how you got on, because obviously without your feedback, I'm not sure if I'm doing anything correct first and foremost, or if it's worth continuing. The more you guys come out, pass or fail, because obviously if you're failing, it means I need to do more. And if you guys are passing, it's working. So your feedback, whether it's on the YouTube comments, as much as I can't answer the YouTube comments, because there's so many of them. I was in there this morning. There's so much comments on there. It's unreal that I can't keep up. But I do read all of them. Patricia, welcome. Right, most of you have gone for A, I think it was. Someone went for a C. So let's take a look at C. 3 years after the date was issued. Right, 3 years is for a new car. So if you bought a brand new car registered 2025, you won't need one in the first 3 years. That's why that would be C. So a brand new car registered in that particular year, you don't need it 3 years after that particular year. But once the car reaches 3 years or more older, you need it every year or every 12 months. They can, for some reason, on the real test, they word it every 12 months, and that throws you guys as an answer. This is the feedback I get from the classroom. So 1 year, obviously 1 year is still 12 months. That's the reason why I say understand the question, understand the answer. So if they word it 12 months, it's still the same answer. What must you have when you apply to renew your vehicle tax? So what must you have? Videos help me. I've got 47, so the questions are fine. And 37 has perception. 5 cancel my next time. It's coming up on the 15th of January. Help needed. 15th is next week, Wednesday, I believe. Because our test is on the 16th of this week, so and that's a Thursday, so 15th on a Wednesday. And you've got a test. Right, the questions are okay based on the test you just did. I will still do some more questions because, as I said, it's going to be a 50 different set of questions, but at least your knowledge is strong, 47. Hazard perception's weak. That suggests you don't know what you're clicking on, hence 37, because that's low. And you got 5 zeros because you got kicked out. Again, because you don't know what you're clicking on, that's why you click too many times, hence why you got 0. So obviously you need to practice on that. I will be doing a demonstration at the end of this 20 question mock test. So if you stick around, I'll show you how that works. What do you mean by what are the videos for hazard perception? Just give me a bit more insight on that. By what do you mean? So I've got clarity. Sorry, skipping it. Here we go. Whoa. There we are. Right, Marcy, you've gone for C. Let me just see if there's a difference of opinion somewhere. You're welcome. Oh, someone has gone for a B, difference of opinion. The hazard perceptions are CGIs. On the apps, you've got a combination of real life and CGIs. On the day of the test, it's all CGI, so it's a lot clearer, crystal. Based on the feedback we get, they're slightly slower than the app, just slightly slower up on the app, but it's clearer. And it's obviously on a bigger screen if you've been using your phone or a tablet. So it makes it slightly easier. Sorry, what did you guys go for B? What was the common answer? So the common answer was C. Someone went for a B. Let's take a look at B. No, you don't need a valid driver license for a tax. You need MLT or insurance, depending on what they gave you. What did you guys go for? C, insurance. Just so you know, you need an MLT first. MLT says your car is roadworthy. And then once you got MLT, you get insurance, which the answer is for this. And then you can get your tax. So it's MLT first, then insurance, and then you tax your vehicle. It's in that order. You're driving on a one-way street. What should you do if you realize you've taken the wrong route? So again, look at the image. It even tells you the answer in the question anyway. You're one-way street. What should you do if you're going the wrong way? Remember, if you guys got any questions, keep them coming. I will keep an eye out for them, especially if you've got a Q semicolon. Makes it a lot easier for me to find. Diana's gone for a C. Right, most of you are going for the A. I think YouTube is skipping it for some reason. They're still coming through. Okay, most of you gone for A. Someone went for, was it C? I think it was. C was C. Turn around in the side road. You can't turn around in the side road because if you're going the wrong way and you turn off, hopefully you can see my cursor, you turn off, turn around in the side road, you're still going to go the wrong way. It's a one-way street, so you can't go against the flow of traffic. So you're going to have to go with the flow and find a different route, I believe. A, continue and find another route. How should you drive or ride in areas with traffic calming measures? And again, the traffic calming measure, just in case you didn't know, is speed humps. And there's 3 types of traffic calming measures. There's speed humps, width restrictions, and chicanes. You're on the right path. Theory test first. You can take driving lessons if you're not already taking driving lessons while you're studying. If you can, this is for everybody as well. If you can take driving lessons while you're studying for the theory, I would recommend doing that because the theory is going to reinforce the driving is going to reinforce the theory. Because now if you get a question, sometimes you can relate it to your driving lesson. This on the real test. So if there were the question differently or a question you've never seen before, sometimes you can think, right, I've come across this in my driving lesson, and then you can choose the answer from there. So I would, if you need to learn it quickly, that's what I would do. Try to do both at the same time if you're not doing it. And then hopefully once you pass the theory test, you're going to be a lot closer to be taking a driving test. So once you pass, you can book a driving test straight away. So you're on the right path in terms of the theory side of it. But if you're not doing both, that's what I would do if you are that much in a hurry. All right, here's the first one. Right, most of you have gone for A's. Just make sure no one's gone for anything different. Some of you are still not typing the question number. A. Reduce speed. Reduce your speed. What must you do at this junction? So what must you do at this junction? Again, law, must. Remember, should, must, maybe, something you definitely should be doing, or law. Okay, remember, if you guys have got any questions, I'm keeping my eye out for questions in the chat. So if you've got any questions about driving theory, put it in the comments. These are the ones with fast internet connections. I'm waiting for the rest to come through. Right here, they're coming through now. Let's wait for a few more to come through just to make sure we're all on the same page. Right, yeah, B is common. Stop behind the line, then edge forward to see clearly. Be very careful with the real test when you go in there. They got this answer, which is obviously the correct one, and they got stop beyond the line. So be very careful, very subtle difference in change. So that's why I said read the questions and answers carefully. They got this one where it says stop beyond the line. And obviously if you've gone too beyond the line, you're too far forward, so it'd be wrong. So read the answers very, very carefully. Oh, they got it here. Stop beyond. But it's the same bits and pieces here on the real test. This is based on feedback here, but just change behind for beyond. And it's very easy to pick the wrong answer, obviously. You want to reverse into a side road. What, again, should you do if you aren't sure the area behind your car is clear? Did I give a mix of difficulty questions? It's random. Literally go in there. So let's say, for example, there's 10 of you in the room at any one time. It's 10 different tests. It's not 10 of the same test. So it's 10 different tests going out at the same time. Sometimes, I'll be honest with you, it could be a little bit of luck. If you studied, the luck don't come involved with it, because if you know the answer, you know the answer. But if you have got a dodgy, how can I put this? If your pass mark in terms of studying isn't the best, so you're just about scraping sometimes, and other times you're failing, you're going to need a little bit of luck on the day. Because obviously, remember, if you're failing, you're getting at least 8 questions wrong, right? So you need a little bit of luck on the day. But in terms of what you're saying is they don't give you the question, it's just random. The test is just generated random 50 questions. And that's the reason why I say your knowledge has to be strong, because you don't know what 50 you're going to get. You could end up getting 50 difficult questions, and on another day, you can get 50 easy questions. Or you can get questions that you know all answers to, or you can get questions that you've never seen before. So that's where it comes to pot luck. So don't give you a mixture to say, right, let's give this person 4 road signs, 5 road signs, 5 road markings, 2 accidents and emergencies. It's just literally random. Hence why they don't publish the answers. They want you to have an all-round knowledge. Think of it like the conversation came up about, I think it was last week in the classroom. Think a bit of like the chase, like how the chasers have knowledge about everything, a little bit of everything. That's how you want your theory test to be. You need an all-round general knowledge about everything from the app and more, because like I said, there's questions that you've never seen before. Right, the majority of you are going for A's, but there's a couple of B's and C's that I've seen on this. So I've got to assume A's correct, because the majority have gone for that. All right, let's take a look. Right, so it's A's, B's, and C's. B, right, let me break this down, because this comes up in the classroom. I'll tell you why it's not C. The question, that's why I said read the question carefully, because there's clues in it. You want to reverse into a side road. What should you do if you aren't sure the area behind the car? First of all, your mirrors only show you down the sides. The rear view mirror shows behind you, not behind the car. It shows behind you. Sounds weird, but it shows what's behind you. Looking through the rear view mirror, like I said, the rear window, again, shows behind you, not behind the car. But this bit here, where it says behind your car, they're talking from the boot down. So recycling bags, the recycling little bins, a child playing hide and seek. That's what they're talking about. Whether you look behind you directly as in turn around, look through the mirrors, you're not going to see that. So that's why it's going to come out and check to make sure there's nothing behind the boot of the car. And then you're going to get back in and reverse. On the real test, again, based on feedback, if this is not there, it's going to be ask someone to guide you. So let's be there. So if get out and check is not there in the real test, it will be ask someone to guide you. Again, should. What should you do if you become tired while you're driving on the motorway? Where's Brookman's Park? Whereabouts is that, and how far away from you is that? Yeah, that's why motorcycle questions are different. So you probably won't even have that question on the motorcycle. Real authentic, how are you? Hopefully you are well. A little bit late yet, but you are here, which is the main thing. That's the reason why car questions are different from the bike question. Bike questions are different from HGV. That's what I suggest. If you're using the 4-in-1 app, go into the settings and change the the questions to the relevant vehicle that you're going to learn on. Right, most of you gone for C. Right, most of you gone for C. I don't see anything different. C, ABC, leave the motorway at the next exit and rest. Yes, leave at the next exit. You can't rest on a hard shoulder on the motorway. It's only for emergencies only. Sleeping, feeling tired is not an emergency. You're invited to a pub lunch. What should you do if you know that you'll have to drive in the evening? Dyslexia is getting really bad. Let's read that again. You're invited to a pub lunch. What should you do if you know that you'll have to drive in the evening? Potter's Bar. That's a nice little drive, Potter's Bar. No problem. You're welcome. No, I only do lives on a Sunday now. Because starting Monday, I start online training with my classroom lot. So yeah, it's live. I'm just live on a Sunday. In terms of for you guys to access me, in terms of the classroom, they get me on the Zoom. Okay, the most of you gone for B. So I got to assume that's correct. That's 13. I don't know what I did there. No difference of opinion. B, don't drink any alcohol at all. Again, for those of you gonna take your driving test at some point, once you pass, if you are a drinker, if you are gonna go out and drive, I wouldn't drink when you go out, stay on soft drinks. It is possible to have a few drinks and still under the limit. It's called units, but it affects everybody differently. Just in case you didn't know, once you pass your driving test, you're on 2 years probation. And if you get 6 points or more in the first 2 years, you lose your license. Drink driving carries 3 points automatically. So I wouldn't drink when you go out. If you want to drink, get someone else to drive or take cab or public transport. How much more fuel will you use by driving at 17 miles an hour compared with driving at 50 miles an hour? So I'm just trying to find the 15. It keeps jumping. There we go. It's a guess. Why are you guessing? You should know this. You passed already. Again, my judge, you gone for B. Okay, take a look at B. 15%. Yeah, it's 15%. There's nothing more to say to that. Why should these road markings be kept clear? Again, look at the image and then go from there. Yeah, because where I'm based in Palmer's Green, about Wednesday, it depends on the driving experience that my people's got. We tend to go down, go through Enfield Town and then Potter's Bar. We go down one side, which is max 50, and then we go around left of the roundabout, come back down through Potter's Bar, and it's 60 miles an hour if we can get up to that speed. So they get to use 6th gear. You're in an auto, so you're laughing. Just put the gas down, kick down, laughing. But it's a nice little drive if it's not busy with traffic. And then you've got a few mini roundabouts on the way down there as well. So it's a nice driving lesson, to be fair. Don't drink at all. So you're going to be fine. I'm not sure if it's the same for motorcycles. I would imagine so. But I can't say that for sure. But I do know with a car license, it's the same. I can't drink Coca-Cola. Okay. Yeah, like I said, most of you, again, that's another fairy test question as well. Alcohol, just in case, because on the apps, I don't believe it comes up a lot. From memory, I don't think it comes up a lot, alcohol. We covered that in the classroom. And on the theory training, alcohol stays in your system for up to 48 hours. So as much as you may go out on a Saturday night, this is what I point out to my guys in the classroom, because we cover legal stuff on a Monday. If you go out on a Saturday night, says you don't you don't drive because you know you're going to be drinking a lot, have a lot to drink on a Saturday. Come Monday morning, you can still be over the limit. It takes up to 40 hours. This is a theory test question in the real test, by the way. It takes up to 48 hours for alcohol to leave your system. So you can still be over the limit come Monday morning. Those of you that drink, by the way. If you don't drink, like Rogue, then you're going to be fine. Same to me, I don't drink alcohol at all. Because I can't afford to have points on my license, full stop. Well, sorry to hear that. My drink of choice when I go out is lemonade and orange and lemonade. Believe it or not, Damon, there's a lot of them out there. you don't realize until you actually start driving. Right. Most people gone for A. What was A? To allow children to be seen when they're crossing the road. Yeah, safety. I know on school days you see parents dropping their school kids off and all the rest of it. They're breaking the law technically. You should not be stopping them at any point. You can stop on there at certain points. I won't go into that, but the fairy tales just keep it simple. It's going to be never. What does the line... Let's read that again. What does this line across the road of an entrance to a roundabout mean? There's a clue in that question as well. So they're talking about these white lines. And this goes back to what I was saying. I can't remember who asked the question. They needed to pass their driving test quickly because of school runs. That's what I'm saying about the driving and the theory reinforces each other. I'll explain that when you guys give the answer in a minute. Yeah, again, you'd be surprised how many people are still doing it. And again, we cover this in classroom on a Monday. Phones, just in case you didn't know, the new Drivers Act, if you guys get caught using your phone, you get 6 points on your license. That's 6 points, which means you lost your license straight away. And the car does not have to be moving anymore. If you're parked up at the side of the road and the engine's turned off, but the key is still in the ignition and you're making a phone call literally on the phone and you get caught, it's 6 points on your license, even though the engine is switched off and the key is still in. So to be legal, the key has to be out of the ignition and then make your phone calls. Again, like I said, a lot of people don't realize that. And talking about phones as well, this is for the real test based on feedback. One of the questions they do ask that you probably won't see on your apps is, when can you legally use your phone? I'll give you the benefit of that with that. While the car's in motion, and the answer, if it's unsafe to stop, but it has to be to a 999 number, a mentioned number in other words, or 112. Yeah, the police do what they want to do. Again, it's not right, but there's not much you can say about that. Right, 17C is what you guys are going for. C, give way to traffic from the right. So this is what I was saying to you before. The keyword, there's roundabouts. With roundabouts, you give way to the right. Like I said, if you wasn't doing any driving lessons whatsoever, and you may not know that, roundabouts, you give way to the right. So if you're taking driving lessons, this is where your real life experience comes in. And that's one of the reasons why I say if you can do both at the same time, driving lessons and the theory, it reinforces it. Because when you see that and it's got roundabout in there, you now know you give way to your right on a roundabout. Powered vehicles used by disabled people are small and can be hard to see. What must they display if they're traveling on a dual carriageway? Yeah, like I said, a lot of people don't realize that they always think if you're using the phone, you have to be caught using the phone while driving. That's no longer true. And like I said, it's 6 points. So if you guys get caught in the first 2 years, that's your license gone. You're back to square one. Right, Marcy, you've gone for C. Mobility scooter is disabled. So it's going to be slow moving, which is flashing amber. Correct. Motorcyclists. Why do motorcyclists wear bright clothing? Yeah, on the dual carriageway, they can do 8 miles an hour. On the pavement, they should do 4 miles an hour. That's good knowledge because not many people know that. How do you know that it's 8 miles an hour out of interest? No problem. That's what I'm here for, to give advice to help you guys moving forward. Yeah, you got to get that right. Surely you can't get that wrong. Most of you, all of you, are going for these. Are you guys having a conversation about bikes? Interesting. I know that used to come up years ago, but I've not seen it in the apps in ages. Yes, Diana, they're allowed in the dual carriageway. Don't ask me why at 8 miles an hour, considering a dual carriageway could be up to 70 miles an hour for a car driver. But yeah, I've seen a few around Sidcup, and I couldn't believe it. But yeah, they got a flashing amber light behind them, but they're allowed on the dual carriage, not on the motorway, but they're allowed on the dual carriageway. So you read it in the highway code book. Not many people read the highway code, so that's the reason why it doesn't come up a lot. But yeah, well done to you guys for knowing 8 miles an hour. I'll be honest with you as well. I don't know how you guys ride bikes. Motorbikes, I'm talking about. Right. To make them more visible, yes. You're braver than I am to ride a bike. You've been involved in an argument that's made you feel angry. What should you do before starting your journey? No problem. Wow, you're quick at the blocks. 20 straight away. I've got to wait for the others to come through. Hello and welcome. Right, most have gone for D. Don't know if there's a comment you're making, but or I'm seeing someone's comment. Dad, give me 1 minute. I'll explain it. I'll try to explain it anyway. I must have gone for D. Let's take a look at these. Yeah, calm down. Obviously, calm down. Don't let road rage. Don't let someone spoil your day, especially on driving lessons or driving. People cut you up all the time, beep the horn, all the rest of it. Don't let someone spoil your day when it comes to driving. Just stay calm as much as you're possible, especially on your driving. And your instructor should keep you calm anyway. But just stay calm. So I just want to put this comment up. Yeah, and I'll tell you why that is. Why I agree with that. I've taught a lot of bikers over the years, and as much as some of the stuff they explained to me, the accidents they've had, their near misses, and they still ride the bike. You guys are crazy, to be honest. There's nowhere on earth you catch me on a motorbike or back of a motorbike. But yeah, I've got enough respect for you guys because I've seen how other road car drivers treat you guys as well. It's crazy. Anyway, let me break it down for you guys. Let me just get rid of this. I always do this now because some of you come in on, when I started the live in the beginning, I said to you, your 50 questions is made up of different categories. So this is a 20 question mock test. So it's only 5 categories here as well. Normally it's about 7 or 8 over the last few weeks. So like I said, this is the least amount of categories I've had since doing this. Anyway, road and traffic signs, 2 questions. Hazard and awareness, 10 questions. Bear in mind, it's 20 question mock test. So half the questions are hazard and awareness. So if my knowledge was poor on a hazard and awareness, there's a chance I could be automatically getting 10 questions wrong. Safety in your vehicle, 2. Documents, 2. Vulnerable road users, 4. So there's no accidents and emergencies. There's no motorway questions in there, none of those. And that's the reason why I say you got to study each and every category. So if the question, if your mock test is made, or your real test is made up of something similar, you're going to be on it. Because if your knowledge is poor in a particular category and you get a lot of questions like we've done here on the hazard awareness, 10, the chances are you're going to fail your real test. So make sure your knowledge is strong overall. So hopefully that made sense to you guys. So you had a crash at 70 miles an hour. It's crazy. Smashed all ribs and you're still doing it. Braver than I am. Diana, the difference between a motorway and a dual carriageway. To be honest, right, let me just define what a dual carriageway is so you know. It's got a central reservation in the middle, i.e. a crash barrier. So there's no chance of going on the other side of the road. The difference between the two, technically, on a motorway, there's no gaps in the middle. So if the question comes up, because it is a theory test question, what is the right-hand lane used for on a motorway? The answer is just for overtaking. Now, on a dual carriageway, the difference is there's gaps in between the barriers. And if that question comes up on the theory test, what is the right-hand lane used for on a dual carriageway? The answer is for overtaking and turning right. So let me just explain again the definition. Motorway, you cannot turn right. There's no gaps on the right-hand side where the barrier is. It's all barrier. On the dual carriageway, there's gaps where you can turn right. So that's the difference between a dual carriageway and a motorway, technically. So hopefully that helps you out. Speed limit's the same on both of them, but you can turn right off a dual carriage, but you can't turn right off a motorway. If it doesn't make sense, just let me know and I'll try to explain it a different way. So let's catch up with the comments. Yes, it does. Fine. It's got to be. Right. How's the perception? Right. I just realized I didn't set this up. So let me get my iPad. And what are we looking for? How's the perception? Just waiting for it to load up. Practice. Let me just see if it's showing up on this. Right, okay, it's showing up. That's fine. Right, so it's going to work. So before we do that, let me just quickly show you this. Right. Hazard perception is you checking the mirrors. So if you're driving, so let me just change my camera on this. Yeah, that's better. Right. Hazard perception. That click, that red flag that you produce when you click or tap your screen is you checking the mirrors if you're driving in real life. And this is what I'm saying again. If you're taking theory test and you're driving lesson at the same time, the way that I'll explain to my pupils is when they're clicking on the iPad on the hazard perception, when they're driving in real life, it's a click. So problem click, i.e. problem check mirrors. If you look at box 14, use of mirrors before you signal, change your direction, change your speed. That's what you should, when you should be checking the mirrors from the examiner's point of view. And that's the reason why the hazard perception was introduced. So it's the same thing you're looking for in the videos. Anything that's going to call you to slow down or change direction. Because if you're going to shift left or right, it should be a mirror check. So let me just repeat. Anything that's going to call you to slow down or change direction, you should be clicking on or tapping the screen. In real life, you're checking the mirrors. Ideally, what you want to do is go for a 2-click method. You can do 3 clicks if you need to. That's not a problem. But for those of you that said they're clicking too much, it's because you're clicking on things that don't exist. So you're not sure what you're clicking on. So like I said, let me just repeat that again. You're clicking on anything that's going to cause you to slow down or change of direction. There's 2 types of hazards on the video. There's a potential problem. It could have been a problem, but you still click. And there's the developing. It developed into a problem where you will be slowing down and where you definitely will be changing direction. So they're training you to see a problem, i.e. click, problem, click. Go for a 2-click method, which means you click once and then you count, literally go 1, 2, and click again. Do not go click, click. Because the first one's early, the second one could be early as well. So you click and you go 1, 2, click again. The way that I explain in the classroom is you're playing a game and you're trying to get a high score. As weird as it sounds, it's not necessarily you seeing the hazard. Let me explain it again before you guys, but I thought you had to see the hazard. It's about getting a score. You can see the hazard all day long, but if you get a 0, it means nothing. It's about you getting a score. You have to get a score, ideally 3 or more per clip. So let me just do a quick demonstration and then you guys can understand what I'm talking about rather than hear me yap about it. Right, so practice. Let's do CGI. See if I can find one that's not being marked up. Let's do this one. Right, so share my screen. Right, so when you're looking, you should be looking as far as you can see. So the bridge, I can't see the other side. There's flashing blue lights. So that's the one that's caused me to slow down. So that's the one I should be getting marked on. But you still need to keep going because that's right at the beginning of the video because it could be your double. A bend, I can't see around the bend. That's a cyclist as well. I think that was well late. Again, I slowed down again, so that could be my double. So when you're looking, you're going from pavement to pavement, from left to right, right to left, because that's where signposts are. I can't see around the bend, so I'm going to click on that. When driving, you should always go slowly into the bend, accelerate out of the bend if you can't see clearly. So I can't see around that bend either, so I'm going to brake. I didn't check my mirrors. 8 out of 10. Wow, I thought that's going to be a lot lower than that. Can you see that? 8 out of 10. So it was a double. Just review it back. So when you're doing your videos as well, make sure you review. Don't think, oh, I got a 0, and then go again. Click why you got a 0 so you know. Oh, got it on time as well. Look at that. So there's my first click. As soon as I saw the problem, which was the bridge for me, it's narrow. And there's my second click. They'll always give you the high score There's no advantage in clicking once. Like I said, if you get a 0, it's a 0. In this case, I clicked first time 5, the second one's in a 2. But they give me the high score. They will not downgrade you with your scores if you've got 2 scores in the 5s, if that makes sense. So there's no benefit in clicking once, lots of benefits in clicking twice. So let's just speed it up for the sake of the video for the second one. So that was well late, to be fair, for me personally. But a score's a score, they all rack up. And I think my second click landed outside of the 5 altogether. But like I said, they gave me the highest score. So hopefully that makes sense. See a problem, click, count 1, 2, and then go again. So let me just see what you guys are saying just to make sure. It doesn't make sense. What doesn't make sense? You can't just put that in there and let me try to be a mind reader. What doesn't make sense? And I explain it again. I ain't got an issue explaining it again. But you got to let me know what doesn't make sense. I appreciate that comment. I see it before it becomes. Yes, most people do. In real life, you can see early. If the road is long and clear, you see it 7 seconds, 8 seconds, 9 seconds. That's the best way to be driving. See early so you got more time to deal with it. So you stay calm in real life. Unfortunately for the videos, it's got to start from somewhere. And that's the reason why you do 2 clicks. Just in case you see it too early, then the second click should land in the 5. I'll do another demonstration in a minute. I'll try and do it early as well so you can see what I'm talking about. See, there you go. It's got 2 zeros. That's because you clicked too many times. That could be, again, because you're spamming. You saw the problem. You just went click, 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 click. Once you see it, like I said, just 2 clicks. You don't need to spam. But because, again, with 57, that's 5s and 4s. You can't get 57 with lots of 3s and 2s. And that's, like I said, if you get 5s and 4s on a regular basis, a nice 7 or 8 on your double, you can afford a few low scores, even a 0 as Karen got. As I said before, with what you guys are saying, clicking too early, it's not necessarily seeing it. Yes, you see it, click, but you make sure you're trying to get a score. That's what the second click is for, to almost guarantee you getting a score. No problem, Karen. I'm glad that you passed and I'm glad it helped. I don't do percentages, I just do scores. I don't see the point of percentages, but you got to do you. Got fair test in 2 days. That's the 14th. It's 2 days. Again, if you've got any questions, please put it in the comments before we sign off. The pass mark for the hazard perception is 44 out of 75. Like I said, I don't do percentages. I just go for scores. So you need to relate that to the score that you got, because that's what they're going to give you is your score on the day. That's why I just deal with scores rather than percentage. Great test tomorrow again. Ask any question before we sign off. I've seen the hazard too soon. Right, so if you've seen it too soon, it means you're not clicking for the second time. Seeing it too soon is not a problem. The motorway and carriageway question. Right, let me come back to that because we didn't have perception. I'll come back to that. I know what you're talking about with that. I will come back to that comment that you just made. Right, so let me just do another demonstration. Let me try and do one that I can do. One of my favorite ones that I'll do. Hold on, let me come out of that so I can find it. It's real life. Right, so let's get rid of that so you don't get distracted. Brake lights, they're slowing down, so I may need to slow down. Again, I repeat, when you're scanning the videos or driving in real life, you should be going from pavement to pavement. So the blue shop, if there was a car there, I would click. Because there's no car, I don't need to click. The petrol station on my right, no cars coming out. The road on my left, no cars coming out, don't need to click. Zebra crossing, well ahead, click. 2. Woman, click. 2. Causing me to slow down. 2. So that's the one I'm going to get marked on because it's caused me to stop in this situation. Again, the side road up ahead on the left, there's no cars there, so I don't need to click. Hopefully you can see that. That's 5 out of 5. So, review. Just speed it up for the sake of the video. Right, there's my first click. Saw it nice and early. That's fine, I've seen it. But remember what I said, it's not about you seeing it, it's about you getting a score. So that click says I've seen it, but I want to make sure I get a score. So I click again, and there it is in the 5. That's what it's about. Like I said, you can see it early as possible. It's not a problem, but your aim is to get a score. Treat it like a game. You're trying to get a high score, not seeing it. You're trying to get a score. So when you see it, you click 1, 2, go again. I even went another time to the woman and the crossing. There's my next click, which is a 4. And there's my next one, which is a 3. So I've guaranteed a score. That's all you're trying to do is guarantee 3s, 4s, and 5s, not 1s and 2s. 1s and 2s are not going to get you to pass. So you're trying to guarantee a score. So for those of you that said you've seen it early, fine. But are you clicking a second time to get a score? So let me just carry on, see what you guys are saying. Can you click on it when you are on the problem as well? Yeah, but the chance that it's going to be a 0. If you click, the closer you are to the problem, remember, the lower the score. So ideally, you want to see it slightly earlier than the 3, if that makes sense. Let me just go back to the video because it's still up. Let's just take your comment down so we can see it. Let's just say, for example, because you're saying when you're on the problem. So I'm virtually on the problem, if that makes sense. That's going to be a 2. So I'm already below my average, if that makes sense. So the closer you are to the problem, it doesn't really make a difference as long as you get a score, because you couldn't, they will add up. So if you get a couple of 2s, a couple of 1s, as long as you're getting 4s and 5s on others, it's going to bring the average up. But the later that you leave it, the lower the score. The lower the score, the less chance you have of passing. So ideally, the earlier you see it, and I'll just show you with early. There's my early. But I'm making sure I get a score by going for a second click. If you're really that worried, there's nothing wrong with going for a 3rd click. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, you don't want to wait till you're on top of a problem. Millicent, hello. I'm glad it's helping you out. No, if you're talking about identical videos, no. The method, the procedures are the same. See the problem, click, but the videos are going to be different. Similar to the questions. So like I said, the questions are worded differently because they don't want you to memorize where the problem is. So it's going to be different clips. They're all CGIs, by the way. They're not real. This is a real life clip that you're seeing in front of me. But when you go for the real test, they're all CGI, so it's a lot more crystal clear. It's on a bigger screen. As I said, the feedback we get from our students is slightly slower than the app, but that problem is going to be different. But the same as I said about the questions, as much as they give you different questions that you've never seen before, the concept's still the same. Choose the safest option. So the videos, they show you videos that you've never seen before. The concept's still the same. There's a video on there that's going to have a problem where you have to slow down or change direction. You still click. It doesn't change just because it's different. Some of you are panicking and freaking out because different questions, different videos. The outcome is still the same. If I taught you 2 + 2 all the time equals 4, and someone says, what's 3 + 1? It's the same answer. It doesn't change anything. It's just a different format, but it still gives you the same outcome. What's the green bar? Again, you guys are typing cryptic questions. Green bar on what? Again, give me a little bit more information. What's the green bar? Get this every single week. And even in the classroom, what's the maximum number of flags we can give in a hazard video? Sometimes I tend to click a lot and the whole score will be cut off. That's because you're clicking on things that don't exist. There is no set number. Well, let me rephrase that. There is a set number. That's why you're getting kicked out. I don't know what that number is because every video is going to have a different amount of hazards. So for example, if one video has 5 hazards and you click 20 times, that may tally for the video. But if one video has 2 hazards and you click 20 times, that doesn't tally because 5 hazards may warrant 20 clicks. 2 hazards on the video doesn't warrant 20 clicks. I repeat, I would add, if you are going into the hazard perception and counting your clicks, the chances are you are going to fail because you're counting your clicks. You don't need to count your clicks if you click on things that exist. If you click on things that don't exist, you are probably going to fail. So do not count your clicks. That's my advice to you. Every video is going to have a different amount of clicks in terms of simplicity, to just explain that. So you've passed it yesterday on Saturday. Well done to you. Congrats. Thanks for letting me know. No problem. Again, if you, like I said, there's no benefit in clicking once. I would always go for 2 clicks. You got to do you. But like I said, if you're going for 1, you run the risk of clicking too early, which means you're going to get a 0. If you got kicked, if the video tells you got a 0, you're clicking on things that don't exist, or you're spamming, one of the two. And otherwise, if you're spamming, you still don't know what you're clicking on because you don't need to spam if you know what you're clicking on. If that makes sense. I'll take a look. I don't even recognize a green bar on there. Congratulations on passing. Before the hazard and in the score. Let's take a look.
Around that. There are pedestrians approaching the cross
before the hazard and in the score place.
Road. There's a junction to the left and to the right.
Right, so let me show you what's coming up on the screen.
Did you see the petrol station?
iPad. Right, before the hazard and before the bar, I don't see a green. Do you mean the circle? I don't see a bar, unless I'm missing something here. Could you say before the hazard and before the score place is what you said? The only thing that comes up is the circles, but they're yellow or amber and red. So again, just clarify that for me, please. So I can put your mind at ease. Again, you've got what's the max clicks. Again, if you're counting your clicks, you're doing it all wrong. I can't give you, because every video's got a different amount of hazards. So the hazards, is clicks per hazard ratio. So I repeat, if one video's got, let me go closer. If one video has 5 hazards, they're going to give you a set amount of clicks for that video, but you won't know how many hazards in that video because you haven't seen the video before. But like I said, if you're counting your clicks, you're asking for trouble. I've seen it too many times in the classroom where they've been told they can only click 10 times and they're counting their clicks, and they get to 10 clicks, they don't click anymore, but the hazard's at the end of the video. Because they counted their clicks and the hazard at the end of the video, they don't click again. Do not count your clicks. There's no point. What's the point? It's stress. Anyway, you're in there counting how many clicks did I do? And you're trying to work out what the hazard is. That makes no sense. Don't count, just click. Next month, please help. That's what the lives are for. The videos are on the channel if you want help. I have got a boot camp. The link is in this description. Depending on when your test is, if it's after the 3rd of Feb, you can click and reserve your place on the 3rd of February for the 5-day boot camp. Right, let me do another hazard perception. Let me try and do another way. I'm going to count my clicks. Which one is it? Real life. Well, I've not seen this one before. It's got no score on it. So this is new to me as well, to you guys. So I'm going to count 10 clicks. Let's download. That's how new it is. I've not even downloaded it yet. So van coming out. I'm going to go for 10 clicks. That's 2. Car coming out, black car. That's 4. Flashing lights. That's at 6. Car reversing out. That's 8. I've just got to 8 clicks. So was that 4 out of 5? So it's towards the... But it's got to be the car reversing out based on this. There's actually the car reversing out. So let's just pause it there. Let's just say I've done 10 clicks before that point. Now, if the hazard was towards the end of the video, a little bit after, then I can't click again because I already told myself I can only click 10 times. I will repeat, do not count your clicks. It's pointless. One, you're putting stress on yourself to remember how many clicks you've done. And 2, you're trying to work out where the hazard is while you're trying to work out how many clicks you've done. Don't count your clicks. Just literally see your problem, click on it. If you're clicking too many times on your practice at home, then refine the clicks. Review the video back like we're doing here, and then refine the clicks. Because obviously if you're clicking too many times, it's going to show you where you're clicking too many times, and you can work out whether that click was warranted. That's how you do it, but don't count your clicks. You're asking for trouble. See, the first 2 flags were in green zone, pop up to the 1 zone. All right, okay, maybe coming across a different color on your screen. That's just a number. Hopefully, you're talking about this section here. He says your first 2 flags when vet is in the green zone, but up to the 1 zone. That's the countdown zone for the video. So where that red line's moving up and down, that's the countdown. So here roughly is 5, and then it goes down to 1. So what they're saying is when it goes down to, I'll be honest with you, let me try to explain this in real life driving. If you're driving, this is how I would drive in real life. This is how I teach my pupils to look well ahead. The car is circled red circle, right? As soon as they see the problem, they check the mirror. This is real life. So on the driving lesson, I teach my pupils, see the problem nice and early, check your mirror. So now you've got X amount of time to be able to deal with it comfortably. Does that make sense? Now, if this was real life, you're driving on your driving lesson and you saw the problem about there, you haven't got time to check your mirrors. You'll go straight for the brake. And what the examiner's now going to mark you for is mirrors before slowing down, because the brain is designed to protect you. So as soon as the brain sees a problem, it's going to protect you, i.e. go straight for the brake. By seeing it early, the brain can give you the full picture and check the mirrors to see if it's safe to slow you down, to keep you safer still. But the brain would rather you take a bump in the back rather than you crashing it into someone. That's how it works. So what they're trying to say, if you see the problem nice and early, you're going to stay calm on your driving test. So you use the brake to slow down to give you more thinking time. The later you leave it, the more panic you have. And that's the reason why they're trying to get it early. But on the video, it has to start from somewhere, i.e. 5. In real life, if the road's long, clear, wide, you can see it 10 seconds, 12 seconds, 13 seconds ahead. It doesn't matter how soon you check your mirrors, as long as the mirrors is done before you go for that break from the driving examiner's point of view. So hopefully that makes sense for you guys. And again, that's why I say if you can do driving lessons and theory test at the same time, it makes more sense because it's going to reinforce the learning for you. If you're getting 43 out of 50, you're scraping it. So at least you're passing. First of all, you asked me what I would recommend. First of all, pat yourself on the back. Congratulations. That's the first thing, because you need to give yourself props because you're passing. That's another thing for you guys. You don't give yourself enough praise. Especially even if you're getting 35 out of 50, yes, you're failing. But if your next one's 37, give yourself props because it's getting better. Okay, you guys are just always pass. You need to give yourself praise for improvement, regardless of whether it's not achieving the goal that you want. That's the first thing you should do. Give yourself props for getting 43 on a regular basis. Now, what you want to do is when you've done the mock test, look at your worst category and then go back and study that. Look at the questions you got wrong, because if you're using again, I can't talk for the other apps, but for the 4-in-1 app, you can go to the incorrect answers. It's going to show you the 7 incorrect answers. Obviously, work out why you clicked the answer you did, and then go back and do another mock test. And then slowly but surely, you'll understand, or you should understand, and retain the information of those wrong questions. So if it comes up again, you don't make the same mistakes. And that's how you improve the score bit by bit. So hopefully that helps. But as much as you're saying your partner has a perception on the regular, do not get complacent. Still practice. So let me come out of that so you can see. So are you allowed to use your phone when it's connected to your car? And why the difference if you can? Right, okay. Let me explain this again so you break it down. Right, this is the new Drivers Act. Like I said, we discussed this on Mondays because it's important that new drivers know this. The new Drivers Act is if you parked up at the side of the road, the car is turned off, but the key is still in the ignition, and you're literally sitting on your phone having a phone call, having a chat, and the police are walking by. Some of them are driving up and down side roads where it's known for, and then they look in high-sided vehicles, so they're looking down to see keys dangling, and that's how the people get caught. It's 6 points on your license. So obviously, if you just pass your theory test, driving test, you're going to lose your license. You're back to square one, another theory test, another driving test. So to be legal, the key has to be out of the ignition. You're parked up, key is out of the ignition. You can make as many phone calls as you want. Now, what simply means asking, can you use your phone if it's connected to the car? Yes, you can. The difference is it's connected to your car. So you're touching the car to make phone calls. So the modern day car with Apple CarPlay and all the rest of it, the buttons are on the steering wheel or it's on your touch screen. You're touching the car to make your phone call. So they don't see nothing wrong with that. So that's the difference. The difference between holding the phone and making a phone call as in touching the steering wheel or touching your touch screen on your car. That's the difference. So touching the car, connected through CarPlay, for example, is legal. Holding the phone, making your phone calls, doing what you need to do is illegal. So hopefully that makes sense. Like you said, the click should be 1, 2, and 1. No, what I said was the click should be 1, and then you count 1, 2, and click again. That's for a 2-click method. If you want to go for a 3-click method, I'm not saying don't do a 3-click method. I don't teach it, but I know people who do it because they still can't get the 2-click method right. There's nothing wrong with that. So it's the same. Just click once, 1, 2, click again, 1, 2, and then leave it on the 3rd click. But what you don't want to be doing is clicking randomly, spamming, or rhythmically. Because if they think the flags are evenly spaced out, like say you've done 6 clicks in a short space of time, but they're evenly spaced out, they think it's spam and they may kick you out. No problem. Happy Sunday to you. A little bit late, but you're here. Welcome. Hopefully you're well. Why is that okay? Why is what okay? Oh, because you're touching the car. They don't see it as much as when you touch your indicator, your window wipers, turning the heaters on while the car's moving, opening the window when the car is moving, because you're just touching a button to make a phone call. I don't make many phone calls when I'm driving. When I'm driving, I just want my own space. I don't want to be on the phone. The only time I really answer phone calls in my car is if my family phones me, and then normally, because we got a method where they phone me, drop call, phone me again, drop call, phone me again, and then I'll answer on the 3rd time because now I know it's serious, because they know that I'm teaching normally, and then I know it's serious and I will answer. Outside of that, I very rarely answer my phone when I'm driving. But if I did make a phone because I had to, I'm touching one button, make boom, cool. And I'll be honest with you as well, with my car, I've got Siri on the steering wheel, literally push the button, call XYZ, and it makes the phone call without me doing anything else. So technically, like I said, you're touching the car. For those of you who've done driving test, for example, if you're doing driving lessons and you've done your show me, tell me questions, the examiner is going to ask you a question while the car is moving. So he may say to you, show me how you clean the windscreen. Show me how you demist the window. You have to touch a button for those things to work. So it's no different from touching the screen to make a phone call. But you can't hold your phone because obviously you're driving with one hand. But touching a button and then getting your hands back is no different from changing gears and then going back to the steering wheel. So that's the difference. Atari, are the questions on the theory test much different from the questions on the practice app? Some of them are. Like I said at the beginning of the live, I'm assuming you wasn't here. The question is going to be worded. Some of them will be the same. Some of them will be similar. Some of them you will never have seen before. But the outcome is still going to be the same. Safety and control. Yeah, I recommend that. But once a person passes their driving test, they don't pick up a book again or an app. But for you guys, I'll be honest with you, I will still keep up my knowledge because you've got two years. You lose your license, you're back to square one. Not to mention your insurance are going to be sky high the next time round because nobody loses their license for a good thing. They lost it because of a bad thing. So the insurance is going to hit you in the pocket for it. You're 100% correct. Failure, again, you guys look at failing as literally what it says on the tin. I failed. Oh my God, my world is over. It knocks you for 6, especially a driving test. Don't get me wrong. Because a driving test, you've waited a long time for a driving test. And if you fail it does knock you for 6. But with the theory test fail, driving test fail, you get a copy of what you messed up on, if you like. Use it as a positive. You've taken a test, you've got the experience of what a test feels like. You now got a baseline. So let's use the magical phrase that everyone says, I failed by 1. You got 42 out of 50. So what you do is look at the sheet, look at the categories you got the questions wrong in, go and restudy those categories. If it's your driving test, the examiner gives you the report sheet. It's got S's and D's. That's why you failed. S or a D. You look in that particular category and you tidy that up. That's your baseline. And then you go again. It makes you stronger. It makes you better the next time round. So it's not a bad thing. There was someone here, I can't remember who it was now, but someone was saying how their instructors screaming and shouting at them for whatever reason. With my pupils, I say this before they even start to drive. We change seats once we're ready to go for a drive. Make mistakes is not a bad thing. Make mistakes. We will discuss, not shout, not scream. We will discuss why the mistake was made. So we try not to do it again. So if you make that same mistake on your driving test, you do not freak out. You don't panic. Oh my God, why did I do it today? You've done it. You've been there, how to correct. Because what the examiner's looking for is outcome. Can you make it safer? And if you can do that, you're still going to pass. So failing the test is not a bad thing. It's not the ideal situation for you. It does stop you for a while moving forward, but you go again as long as you learn from mistakes. Some of you are taking the test and booking another one next week. Same result, book another one next week. You're not learning from mistakes. You're just making the same mistakes. So learn from the mistakes. It's data. The paperwork they give you is data. Use the data to improve. Any advice for last minute? Yes. A revision. That's a different story. If you're not ready, last minute revision is not going to... Everyone's different. I'm not going to say it's not going to count. And the reason why I say this, again, I use the classroom. I always use situations that I know what I'm talking about. I don't just choose random stuff. In the classroom, I do a 5-day course. Our students we normally book their theory test, for Friday where possible at 5 p.m. They start at 8 and finish at 2:30 after the driving, and they normally go off to North Finchley's where they take their test, the theory test, ready for 5 o'clock. Monday to Thursday, they come in, they do theory training. Friday, I normally leave optional. If they're ready for a theory test, they're going to be ready by Thursday. Coming in Friday is not going to change anything. So if I feel they're going to be more than ready, they have a lie-in and come in for the driving at 10 o'clock. So you're talking about last minute revision. If you're ready for a test, you should be ready for a test. Last minute revision doesn't mean it's going to stay with you. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying it may not stay with you. But I wouldn't cram last minute. What I would do, any subjects that you think you're not happy with or confident with, then just go over that. But you shouldn't be doing last minute revision. In my opinion, you shouldn't be doing last minute revision. You should be ready and just try to go in there with a clear head with all this, rather than all this stuff going around and cramming on the bus or train to the test center itself. Because like I said, my pupils are ready by Thursday evening, to be fair. But everybody's different. So let me just catch up with any other comments. Again, if you've got any last minute questions, please type it in. If you want another demonstration of a hazard perception, let me know. Just type yes in the chat and I'll do another one before we sign off. So I'm just trying to read this. Is there any updates? Right, no. The theory test normally gets updated every 2 years because laws change sometimes every 2 years. So the last change was 2024. So the next change won't be 2026. They may make a few changes for whatever reason during the year, because sometimes the government changes certain things. The apps, if you're using apps, it gets updated automatically. That's the advantage of using apps, the paid version anyway. Because if anything changes, the DVSA releases those questions to us. We're licensed. The apps are licensed. They release those questions to us and we update our knowledge or the software straight away. So if there's any changes, it will reflect in the apps. But at this point, there isn't. Sundays, 10 a.m. Does it let you flag questions? And yes, That's one of the reasons why I use the theory test success, because it's similar to the real test. Flag. And again, for those of you taking the theory test, especially at home, doing mock tests first and foremost, what you should be doing when you're practicing at home is practicing the same way you're going to deal with it in the real test. So at home, you should be flagging. And then once you finish your 50th question, go back to the flagged ones and then spend a little bit more time to work out the answer. On the real test, do the same thing. Go through your 50 questions as you're going through. Anything you're not sure of, flag it. Spend that time to go back to the flagged ones and then obviously answer it. I'm talking from personal point of view. You have to do you. I don't know you. I would not go back to number one. I teach my students not to go back to number one and then just check all 50, because your brain's got overtime now. It's going to start talking to itself. It's going to talk yourself out of the right answer to the wrong answer. The reason why you flagged, because you have a doubt at that time. So just go back to the flagged ones only. Do not go back to number one, because you'll start talking yourself out and changing answers from the right answer to the wrong answer. And that's how people fail as well. Yes, okay, brilliant. There you go. I've never seen that before. First attempt in, I might use that. Take that away from you. First attempt in learning. But again, like I said, mistakes is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. I always encourage my students in the classroom and in the car, make mistakes. It's not a bad thing. Do you have any idea if a 24 theory test is much different from the 25? As I mentioned earlier on, the test is the same. The years are relevant. You guys are looking at years. The years are irrelevant. And I will add again, I stress again, if you are using apps, that's the best way to study, is using apps. If anything changes, the apps get updated straight away, because they release the questions that they're changing to us as trainers if are licensed, and the apps are licensed, hence why you pay $4.99 for it, and it's updated straight away. So if you're using books, then obviously books can be outdated at any point, but apps will always keep up to date. So it's the same test as last year. Yes, once you click finish, as you walk to reception desk, I'm talking about finish on the hazard perception. Once you walk to the reception desk, they will confirm who you are, name, address, blah, blah, blah. And then they should give you your paperwork face down. As soon as you click finish, it starts to print. And then as you get to the desk, they just make sure it's you. They should give you your paperwork face down. And then as you walk in, obviously you turn it over, look for your name. Under your name, it should say congratulations. Then you know you've passed it. It still gives you a breakdown if you've missed any. And if it's a fail, it will say, sorry to say you didn't make it on this occasion. Again, gives you the breakdown, and it gives you what you should do to book another test. If it's a pass, it's got your pass certificate number. You need that number to book your driving test. Yes, agree with that. Especially if it's a theory test. If you need special needs, you may need to write to them, and they're going to need doctor certificate paperwork to get that sorted out. If it's a driving test, if you've got an instructor, declare your disability with your instructors. The amount of people coming on the course are embarrassed about their disability is ridiculous. Declare your disability. Even if I got dyslexia, I feel no way in saying that. I don't feel no shame in saying that. And I have problems with my left and right. There's times in the car where I've got to work out my left and right. So my people, you're going to the left. Got no embarrassment in that. That's just me. But declare it to your instructor. If it's a serious kind of learning difficulty, he can talk to the examiner for you if you don't want to talk to the examiner yourself. So if you've got anything that's going to cause you to learn in a difficult way, declare it, because we can help you. We can structure the learning for you. But you guys are embarrassed to explain why this is what it is. Can it be on speaker? I mean the phone. I'm not sure what you mean by that. But let me try and take a guess. You guys, like I said, when you guys type things in, you got to make it clear. I'm not the brightest person, but when I got detail, I learned quicker. If you're talking about, can you have the app on your phone and have the speaker version? Yes, when you're studying. When you go into the real test, you can't because it can disturb other people, but you have headphones. It's called voice over. Apparently now, I believe they leave the headphones out. They used to have to set it up before you got there. So you had to declare it on the sheet. But now I believe it's there anyway, just in case you want voice over. You put the headphones on, obviously it keeps it internal, so not to disturb other people. But if you want it on speakerphone on your phone when you're studying, then obviously, yeah, but make sure you're not disturbing Joe Public. Right, so, all yeses. So I'm talking about another demonstration then. I've not seen that on the app, but the app will explain. That's how it used to be back in the day. Sometimes you had to choose 2 answers out of 4. Just make sure you got the up-to-date app. I've not seen that on the apps we use in the classroom at all. But I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but that's how it used to be. Sometimes select 2 options out of 4. So you failed the last one by 2 marks. That means you got 41. The way you need to look at it, you got 9 questions wrong. So restudy the 9 questions. Go for the highest improvement. So not 9. So you're going for 9 improvement rather than just 2 improvement. It's just the way the brain works. Because if you go for the easy option, you just do enough studying to get the 2 marks. If you go for 9, you do more studying to get the highest mark. Like I said, it's a brain thing. In the classroom, when I work on the pupils' mentality sometimes, because sometimes you've got negative vibes going through your own heads. I will do that demonstration. I just want to catch up with the chat. The left-hand lane on the motorway is for driving, normal driving. Everybody uses the left-hand lane unless you're overtaking. Wow, you're scared to book it, not to take it. You're scared to book it. You need to pass the theory test if you want your driver's license, so you have to book it. Being scared is natural. Being nervous on the day is natural. There's nothing wrong with that. But control the nerves, but you have to book it. So do it. It depends. No, when you go to the test center, the theory test I'm talking about, they're not interested because you've already booked it. When you book it online, it asks you if you've got disabilities, and then you can give more detail on that situation. Same thing for the driving test. If you need extra needs, you book it. When you book it online, you declare it online. Once all they do at the centers itself, the theory test and the driving test, is do the test. They conduct it. They're not interested in whether you've got disability or not. If you told them in advance, for example, let's just say you need wheelchair access, they know you need wheelchair access, then they're going to cater for that, if that makes sense. But what if you don't declare it, you turn up saying, I've got a disability, there's nothing they can do at that short notice. So you have to declare it at the time of booking, is what you need to do. Right, so let me just do a demonstration. I know some of you guys are waiting with that yeses. Right, let me just do a CGI so you can see it clear on screen. They're all marked up. Let's find the one with the 4 at least. Right, let's do this one. Okay. So, looking down the road, left and right, nothing much going on. There's a car coming out. So you can see, I'm going to go for another one on that one. So he skidded, the van's coming out. If the car skidded, the van may skid. I'm just going to go for another one just to make sure. And that's the one that's caused me to slow down, which is developed, in other words. And I'm going to keep looking because I may need to be clicking again because of a double. There's a bend coming up, but I can see clearly to the right of the bend. So I don't need to click on that because I can see going into the bend. I can't see around this one with the truck coming around. What's that? 2, 4, 6, 8. That's 10 clicks already. Four out of 5. Let me just show you guys. 4 out of 5. Always review. Even with the 4 out of 5, review it back. Again, with my students, when they get 4 out of 5, normally I look for anything under 3. That's the first thing I do. So 2s, 1s, 0s, because we need to improve those. Remember, you need 3 or more. And then we see with the 4s, could we got a 5? So even with the 5, with the 4, sorry, I look to improve. So let me just get rid of this comment. So there you go. Let's just replay it back to the clicks. Let me just show you. So the car's coming out. Skidded. There's my 2 clicks. Then I clicked again, just in case. Still too early. And then I saw the van. That's a 4. Clicked again. That's my 2 clicks. And I think I clicked again just to make sure. There you go. Just to make sure I got a score. I'll repeat. I don't care whether I see the problem or not. As long as I'm sure I'm getting a score, that's all that matters to me. Because me seeing it, especially with the first 4 clicks, there, 4 clicks, still a 0. Means nothing at that point. It just means I saw it. That's all it means. But I made sure I got a score. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me just stop it there. Right, let me just catch up with the comments on this. Right, I appreciate we'll keep you informed how I'll get on next live stream. Hopefully it's good news, but hopefully I'll see you next Sunday. Done that one. $87. That's flashcards, yeah. That's when I took my test with flashcards. There's no theory training whatsoever. Carol, you're welcome. Yeah, like I said, the feedback I get from my students, the headphones are out automatically now. So they don't have to set it up for you. So that's why it's not confirmed in the email. That's when they used to read the question. That I believe they don't do that unless it's special circumstances now. Because what they found, the few vigilators who's read the questions were giving out the answers without the people knowing and say, so they stop doing that. You can get more time. All right, another little tip for you guys as well who's struggling. I had this email yesterday, I believe. If you have a disability and you need more time, English is not your first language, you need to go to an app called Theory Test Pro. Sign up for that. On that one, it treats it like the real test. You can change the time on it. It gives you more time. And you can change the language into your language that you want to learn in. But I would suggest you change it back to English as you approach the real test so you can get the exact wording. So Theory Test Pro gives you more time and you can change the language on that one. Take as long as you need. 57 minutes is max for the questions. Again, I use real life situation classroom. Normally on a Monday, Tuesday when they turn up, they're taking 35 to 40 odd minutes to do it. By the time they get to Thursday, they're doing it in 15, 20 minutes because now they're more confident. They know what the answers are. Hence why they don't have to come in on Friday. But you have to do you. Don't rush it just for the sake of rushing it. There's no glory in finishing early and failing. If I was doing it, and like I said, because I got dyslexia. My dyslexia is mild, but if I'm doing it, I'm taking my time to read the questions. And if it takes me 57 minutes, I'm taking my 57 minutes. I don't care. I pay for that time anyway, as well. Yeah, it's like I said, it's a learning curve. You just experience it. The hardest part as a driving instructor is to explain, especially for a driving test, is to explain to what happens on the day and everything else, because you haven't experienced it. But once you experience it, hopefully you just experience it once. But if you have to take another test, you've experienced it, and that experience keeps you calmer the second time round. Can you? I'm not 100% sure. I'll be honest with you. I've got the desktop version, but it's an instructor version, which I pay for, so I can show it screen on live when I'm doing the videos. And the videos on live, sorry, live stream, gone blank. So I'm assuming you can get it on desktop, but you may have to pay a bit more, or a subscription, because mine's a subscription based. But go into the store on your laptop and see if they do it for $4.99. And if not, they probably have the desktop version, which may be a little bit more. Try it. What if I don't know how to use a computer? I'm assuming you mean for the real test, you don't need to use a computer. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. You don't need to know how to use the computer. All you're doing is clicking the right answer. So if you're doing it on your phone, it's no different, where you tap in the answer with your finger. You're just using the mouse to tap the answer on the computer. There's no technology involved in that. And then you just click next. That's all you need to know. As long as you can click, then you're fine. No, the multiple choice is 57 minutes. You got a 3-minute break if you want to take it, which takes up to 60 minutes. And then you got 20 minutes to half hour for the hazard perception. So you got an hour and a half in total, to be fair, for the real test. Yeah, don't rush. That's the biggest thing that you guys do, is rush. I always say to my pupils in the car and in the classroom, you're rushing to fail. Once you start rushing, you're rushing to fail. No problem. I'll see you hopefully next week. No problem. Right, that's the last one on there. So, I don't know what happened there, but let me go back to this one and get rid of this one so you guys can see me. So hopefully you guys have learned a lot in between me rambling on, because I'm just trying to encourage you guys to keep things simple. Don't stress, don't freak out. Take your time when you study. Remember, when you come to study, there's no right or wrong. Well, there's only wrong if you don't study, if that makes sense. Can you explain what the guaranteed pass? That's the 4-in-1 app. Basically, what they're saying to you is, if you do everything on their app, studied, all the questions, all the categories, I believe 50 out of 50, all the categories, everything else. If you fail, providing you register, that is, if you fail, you contact them and they will pay for your next test. But you have to have completed everything on the app. That's what they're trying to say with the pass guarantee. Yeah, so good luck to everybody who's got a test this week. If you haven't got a test and you're still studying, any questions that you may have, any doubts that you may have, write them down. Don't remember them, write them down, and then bring them to the live next week. Ask me and I can clear it up for you, because I'm here to help. That's what I'm here for. As I mentioned, no, they're not the same question. They're similar or different. No problem, Gunnar. Hopefully your studying's going really well. I will check into the app to see how you guys are getting on. I've just been so busy with the start of the year so far, but I will check on you guys this week. I know some of you got your tests coming up this week as well. So yeah, have a blessed week. Stay safe, which is most importantly. Keep studying. Don't stress. Don't freak out. And hopefully I shall see you next Sunday. So take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.